let's get into the picks of the week.
Let's
all
do
of the
it.
good stuff that we have on the horizon that's coming out that we think should be on your list. Starting off with my top 5, I've got a series for Spookytober, you know. There's only one king doll out there, in my opinion. You could keep your Annabelle and everybody else. The only person who really matters is Chucky, dude. And Chucky has come back with his 3rd season. I've been seeing the advertisements because I'm still on 1, but I've been seeing that they've been like, he's like running for president or something. I like this because if you follow the Chucky lore, which I know you probably have, Zach.
Oh, intensely.
It's split. There's the Mancini ones that is the original guy who is no longer making the movies because of some lawsuits, and that's why they did the Aubrey Plaza one. Don't hate that one, but it's a little different. He's continued his lore from the original Child's Play to everything else through this Chucky series. And it's kind of cool because I think he lost a Child's Play name, but like some people call it Chucky, so now he gets to go full Chucky. So I'm finishing up the 1st season, and I'm going to be watching seasons 2 to 3. That's going to be my spooky stuff to watch because, look, Exorcist, Saw, those are great, but I need some laughs. And only one person's giving you laughs, and that's Chucky. So Chucky season 3 over on Peacock. I think it's a sci-fi show, but they post it up over there, and they've been doing a good job putting it episode per episode. Over on Mubi, I have a selection called Passages that we caught early at Sundance. It had a little bit of a limited release in some art house theaters. I think it has some outstanding performances. Ben Whishaw is always great, right? We love Adele. She is fantastic.
Yeah.
But you know it's my boy Franz, dude. He's got a new one at Chicago that I'm going to be catching. It's called Lubo. I don't even know where I'm going to fit it, but I'm going to, like in this movie, I'm going to find a way to get it in there. This movie is like the worst possible person you can follow who's always making mistakes, and it just, you don't like them, but you can't help but be enticed with all of the mistakes that they're making. Really good performances all around. You can catch it on Mubi if you are interested. Another one that is in limited release right now, and I think we're kind of split on it. I came prepped when I saw this in Toronto because I know that Kitty Green has a specific style, and I personally think she's a feminist kind of troll. I think she knows how to play with a script, and I was kind of in for it. For this one, it is about two women who go to get a job that is like you vacation, but you also get paid for being able to travel in certain places, and they go to a place known as a Royal Hotel where they're serving a bunch of minors, and it gets very rowdy. And this is like implication the movie. I know a lot of people are going to think it's edging too far on like it being a thriller and it going all the way. That kind of worked for me. It may not work for others, so it may be a rent it for a majority of people. I definitely think I would recommend it as a rent it, but if it's playing at a theater near you, you got the time to watch it. I think they had some good sound design, good performances, and really good cinematography because they get really good shots within that tight location of the bar.
Totally. I would say there's a lot of like really great scenes in this movie. I don't know if I liked as much as what it added up to, but there's moments for sure.
Like, you can come out hating this movie, and I'm not going to tell you, like, I disagree with you. I can see why people did not like it, but I don't know. It kind of worked for me, the thrilling aspect of it.
Yeah.
So catch that one if you're interested. The next one that I have, and I didn't even link it over here, but we've got a new Mike Flanagan, dude.
Yeah.
The Fall of Usher. They sent me a couple of these episodes, so I've had the chance to catch the first 3.
Oh, cool.
And he's still cooking, dude. This is an adaptation of the Edgar Allan Poe story. And it's Succession, man. This is a family who runs pharmaceuticals. They have some like creepy, weird horror backstory as well. But it turns out that this pharmaceutical company has been taken to court, and someone in the family, because it's a massive like Succession type family, is a mole, a snitch. And they're trying to figure out who it is. But they may all be dead before they can figure out who it is. Look, I think he's knocking on all cylinders. I'm not on that second half where I've heard that my girl Carla Gugino kills it. They've been teasing her. She's popped up a little bit here and there. I don't think he's been this good since Hill House.
Oh, okay.
I like Bly Manor.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's been this good since Hill House. So, big recommendation for me on this.
Very
it comes
cool.
out, I think, completely on Netflix October 12th, as you can see right there. Mm-hmm. So, definitely put this one on your radar. This is going to be a fantastic one. The Fall of Usher over on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed these Mike Flanagan Netflix shows. You know, like you were saying, I'm not always like quick to jump on horror, but I think he has enough going on in these,
good
both
characters.
In terms of the visuals, in terms of the ideas that he's playing with those characters, with the themes of it. There's just really enough meat on the bone there that I find myself really drawn to those stories. Yeah. And if you're telling me it's as good as those early ones, man, I'm really excited.
I'm glad. I've been wanting to hit like this for a minute, and he's doing it. My final pick is going to be the festival recommendation. We just made a little video about it, but it would be our Chicago picks for the Chicago International Film Festival. It is beginning literally 2 days from now. So if you're in the Chicago area, hit us up for any advice, tips, tricks, all that good stuff on Letterboxd. If you follow the show, you already know what movies you should have on your watch list. So I definitely got to put the whole festival as a whole here, with all of our links up in terms of our must-watch picks over on the A2ZShow.com. But again, you probably know our picks from here or over on Letterboxd. So big shout out to that festival. It is my final pick for the week. Zach, though, has those picks.
I do. I've got 5 picks of my own stuff to watch this weekend. I'm starting out with Anatomy of a Fall, because whether or not this is playing at a festival near you, it is starting its American release. I know it's going to be in theaters, at least in New York and LA this weekend, which means it'll only start to roll out from there. I saw it over on my A-List app, so it's even going to be in some of the big theaters, hopefully. It is certainly going to be one of the most interesting movies of the year. Sandra Hüller in particular is giving a fantastic performance. This is a movie that just like rides the line of what side are you on? Did this happen or did this not happen? And it walks that tightrope for a full 2 hours masterfully. So
I got one question.
Yeah.
Is she better in this or in Zone of Interest?
So I think she has more to do in this film than in Zone of Interest. She's more of a supporting character, and she's fully the lead here in Anatomy of a Fall. But
I'm so excited.
Having quite a year in Anatomy of a Fall is the first one. Yeah. I think you're going to really enjoy that one. Let's also talk a little bit about The Mission. My eyes keep skirting over this one because we saw a documentary at Sundance called The Mission that we are not particularly big fans of. But this is a separate documentary, and this one is directed by none other, co-directed, I should say, by Jesse Moss, who's behind Boys State, along with Amanda McBain, who he did Boys State
She also...
Yeah.
This was the Telluride pick.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a new documentary that takes a look at the life of American Christian missionary John Chow, who tried to contact some indigenous people on a mission and ended up murdered as a result of it. And I just feel like you get documentarians as talented as Jesse Moss and Amanda McBain behind it, that they're going to tell the story in a really compelling way. We were gigantic fans of Boys State, and as you mentioned, that Telluride Film Fest approval is pretty significant.
It's pretty big for me, yeah.
Yeah, they tend to only put pretty solid movies there, so I'm very curious about this documentary.
I see it's limited for y'all. You're probably going to get it because you're in New York.
Yeah.
This will be at Chicago.
There you go.
That limited release week for you guys is going to end up being the festival week for us over here.
Yeah, whether or not it's near you right now or it will be soon, it's one that you have to start paying attention to, keeping your eye out for, because it might roll out, whether it is to a film festival or a theater near you soon. I think the same can be said for Fantastic Machine, or if we want to go by its full Sundance title, And the King Said, What a Fantastic Machine. I think you and I were both really taken with this documentary out of Sundance, which combines a lot of archival footage, viral videos, live streams, and sorts of stuff into a really interesting essay on life in modern times, where things are hyper documented and the fallout and consequences of that. It's certainly a wide ranging topic, and it touches on a lot of different ideas. But I think for people like us who, not only watch a lot of digital content but produce some of our own, it's a fascinating movie.
I liked it a lot. Yeah, this was one of the ones that I made it all the way up to the Egyptian Theater to see. They had a really cool Q&A. Plus, produced by our boy, Ruben Östlund, who did Triangle Sadness and Force Majeure.
There you go. Another film that is going to be out, but
we did
more readily available. It's on VOD.
Where it should be.
Yeah, it's down low, which, look, this was one of the movies at South by Southwest that was maybe flying a little bit under the radar, but when you and I caught it, we kind of loved this one.
Yes, we did.
It is a raunchy, ridiculous, wacky, but somehow sincere, moving, beautiful comedy starring Zachary Quinto and notably Lucas Gage, who is absolutely hysterical in this film. Like, if you weren't a fan of Lucas Gage coming in, you absolutely will be coming out of this movie. They are so funny opposite each other as a deeply repressed, newly open gay man and a man he hires to service him, bond
Human
and
popper?
bond and go through all sorts of debaucherous activities together over the course of a crazy day. Simon Rex shows up and is really hilarious. There's a sequence set to there's like a music video sequence that had us singing the song for like weeks after. That might,
To this day, bro.
that song might still be in my playlists. Yeah.
Yes.
And look, like, not to spoil things, but the movie made me cry, and for a vulgar, ridiculous comedy like this to actually get emotion out of me, it must be doing something right. There's some really good stuff here.
And to give you the warning, this was probably one of the most walked out movies at South by.
It will be too much for a lot of people.
Yeah, but it's because of how crazy it gets that when it breaks through to the other side, which is really the themes of this movie, damn, was it worth it for us. Some of you may check out, so it's perfect that it's going to be at home.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see if anybody bothers catching up with Down Low, because I want to rewatch that movie.
I want to rewatch it too.
Yeah. And
With
then
my mom.
and then my last recommendation in the picks for the week is a bit of a throwback. We were talking before about Alexander Payne because The Holdovers, his new movie, which I think you'll be catching at Chicago, is one of his best films in a long while. And I heard you say that you hadn't seen Citizen Ruth, which is one of my favorites of his. It is available to stream over on Paramount Plus. It's a really interesting film starring Laura Dern. She's a young woman who gets pregnant and then sort of ends up at the center of the debate on abortion, just kind of being manipulated to either side of it for selfish gains. And it's the kind of like wry, uncomfortable, but truthful comedy that I think Alexander Payne is so good at directing. And this is like an air text because this was one of his first films. Laura Dern also absolutely incredible in it. But yeah, it's available to stream on Paramount Plus, and I think it's an overlooked but incredible political comedy.
All right. I always like a nice little throwback movie, so running it back. I got my Chucky series over on Peacock, which is starting at season 3. I think it's still delivering on all the Chucky kills and laughs and gore that they bring in there. Passages over on Mubi, I think, is a perfect horrible person, like worst person in the world type movie where you're following somebody played by one of the best actors I believe that we have right now in France. I also have The Royal Hotel. We're kind of split on it here on the podcast, but hey, ain't that the beauty of movies? Even if you wait for it for when it's on rental, I'd highly check out this thriller that teases you too much. The next one is The Fall of Usher. I'm giving this my full recommendation here. All the episodes are going to be out on Netflix, and it is Flanagan back at it with all of his people, bro. He's like just so comfortable with his entire cast. And then, of course, the Chicago International Film Festival with all of our picks. We got our video, we got our letterboxes, everything you need to know about that. Zach?
Yeah, my picks for this week include Anatomy of a Fall, the Did She, Didn't She Do It French courtroom drama of the year. The Mission, a very intriguing documentary that comes from the directors of Boys State. Fantastic Machine, a look at video in the modern age that was one of our favorite documentaries at a Sundance. Down Low, an absolutely debaucherous, hilarious comedy starring Zachary Quinto and Lucas Gage. And finally, Citizen Ruth, which is streaming on Paramount Plus, the Alexander Payne political comedy classic starring Laura Dern. And also, I guess we can shout out Montclair Film Fest and Philly Film Fest as well. Whatever is your local film fest, go watch movies. But those are all of our picks for this week.